The future is now, and the future is an update on a few moving stocks, especially Tesla. Okay, I have a bunch of scenarios for Tesla, and I wanted to cover them and what we're going to possibly do ourselves to let you know how we're playing Tesla over the next month or so. Let me blow up Tesla here and show you what's going on. Okay, now obviously it had a major run up, okay, at the end of 2020 and even into 2021. Okay, now here's the issue. Okay, and this is what I called out, and I knew this was pretty much going to happen. We went into this sideways pattern. Okay, we're basically consolidating, and there hasn't been a ton of news as far as Tesla specific. Okay, not talking about Elon and Bitcoin and Dogecoin and all kinds of other extraneous things. I'm talking about basically the company itself. So anyway, so it's pushing it into this sideways move, and it's hovering. It broke down at the 800 mark, which isn't good. Okay, and then it basically rejected back off the 800 mark. Okay, over here. Okay, and you can see in this pattern, and let me get rid of the box here, but you can see this is obvious that, and like I said, I don't like betting on stocks or trading on stocks or doing anything with stocks when they're going sideways or when they're going down. Okay, I don't think that that's wise. Okay, you're losing money if it's going down, and sideways, you have money stuck there that could be performing somewhere else. So that's my mindset. Okay, I mean, it depends on your timeline and your investment strategy too, but this is just how I deal with things. Okay, now when it comes down, you can see it's downward channeling right here. So first thing we need to do is obviously we need to break that downtrend. We're really close to the 50. We already bounced the 50 once. Okay, but there's a few possible options here. Think about the probability of things happening again. Okay, I mean, is the probability it's just shooting up from here make sense? Probably not. It could bounce the 50 again. So let's take an arrow and let's assume a few possibilities here for a minute. Okay, Tesla could basically just come down to the 50 and then bounce around the 50. Like hover the 50 for a while, bounce around it, hop on it, and then maybe move up from there. Okay, it will have then broken that downtrend, which is key, and then come back and maybe retest the 20-day moving average in blue here and kick down off that potentially. But either way, that's a possibility from here. I don't think seeing it instantly breaking this channel and just skyrocketing up unless we get some good news around Tesla. Okay. Secondly, what could happen is it could come down to about the 740 range. Okay, which is the bottom of the channel, and then kick off. If it does that, we're absolutely going to trade this play. So I'm going to buy in at 740-ish, 742, somewhere in that ballpark, if it does come down there. I'm not saying it's coming down there, it's going up, or it's going sideways. I don't care where it goes. I'm just telling you what we're going to do if it does this, what we're going to do if it does that. Okay, so it's basically having the plan, having a strategy in place so I know exactly what to do, when to do it, and I don't delay and I don't stall and be like, well, oh my gosh, it's falling or whatever, and I don't doubt my own logic here. Okay, so that's an option, and just to play it, I don't even know if it'll be a dead cat bounce or just a bounce or whatever, back up to the 50. Think about it, it'll come potentially back up to the 50-day moving average and then possibly reject. So our strategy there, if it does this, comes down to 740, is to trade it back up to about 770. So try to make about $30 a share on that move. Now let's say it kicks back down and does come down. I think it's potentially going to backtest right around 700. And the reason being is if you go back in time to the 18th of December, that was a huge buying bar. This is a huge support level. You can see it also on the 30th, and that's when it skyrocketed back up. So that's another spot. If you didn't want to play it in the middle of this channel downward as a trade, you could play it down at 700 potentially, and that would be a lot safer of a trade. Obviously, to buy at 700 instead of 740, that would be a much safer of a trade. Not saying it's coming down to 700 again. Let's be clear on this. I'm saying if it does, then that's when we are buying at the 700 range to hopefully run up to 740 plus at that point. So we may play two different trades here depending if it continues on this downward channel. If it breaks the channel, that's a different story completely too. So if it breaks the channel and they get some good news or something positive that can accelerate the stock, then we will jump in if it breaks that channel as well. So those are our three possible scenarios. We essentially buy in at 740, buy in at 700, or buy in whenever it breaks that downward channel significantly on news, on something positive towards the company. And you know Elon and you know Tesla, there's always a potential of that happening at any time. They could announce the rideshare network. They could announce the completion of the Model 2 prototype or whatever. They can announce pretty much anything, and that could accelerate the stock. And Elon tends to do that when the stock starts to falter a little bit. So when it starts to falter, all of a sudden Elon comes in with something and it usually bounces that stock back up. He's done that multiple times in 2020 and late 2019. So I see that happening a lot, and that's good strategy. I mean, if you're thinking about your own company as a strategy and you're the CEO and you see your stock faltering, are you going to let it falter? Probably not. So anyway, I'm not saying to expect any big news necessarily this week. But anyway, we're going to be watching closely, and that's our strategy. And you can see that plays out within, potentially, 5 days. So this week, you're going to see potentially one of these things happening. And this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to attack it, just on a trade in this scenario. So I also wanted to cover Palantir and a few other stocks. So if you're interested in Palantir or a couple other stocks, then I wanted to cover those as well, because we are, basically going to start moving in pretty heavy on Palantir. Okay, and there's multiple reasons. The lockout period in this circle down here that you can see, this is the lockout date, was on the 18th. So you can see all that volume. Okay, 330 million back-to-back volume. And we had actually bought more the day before, and we bought more Friday as well. And we are planning to buy every day this stock goes up. If this stock goes from 30 to 40 or 30 to 38.40, and I'll explain that in a minute. That's basically, we're going to run this type of trade. We may run it even longer, but I may trim back if it does bounce. Okay, now I'm looking for a bounce here. It hit the 50 and it's hovering the 50. If it hops over the 50 and in after hours it's already up 2.5%, it's already essentially bounced over the 50. Okay. So basically we're looking for it to come back, potentially hit the 50 and move up from there. So we're going to be loading a lot. I mean, and probably somewhere between 10 to 30,000 worth on Monday, and potentially a little bit more every day as it continues to go up. I buy as the stock goes up. And if it doesn't go up and goes flat for a day, I just kind of just hold tight. That's a strategy that I have personally. I'm not adding as it's going down. I'm basically adding every day as it's going up, as we're more and more and more profitable on that. And we've already had a good run on Palantir. We've already made about 14,000 on Palantir, back from 1290, 80, somewhere in there. I don't remember. And then we sold, then we bought, then we sold, up around 25, I think, 20, 25, 26-ish, high 25s. And anyway, we didn't do much in this in the wedge going sideways consolidation. We didn't do much. I didn't really sell. I didn't really buy. I waited for the breakout. We bought in again, and we just been kind of hovering. And we're down a little bit on the position as far as our cost average, but that's all right because we don't have a ton of shares right now running. So, but we are planning on making a big move on this. Another big thing is ARK Invest and Cathie Wood, they have a pretty big stake now in Palantir. They bought a huge dip on this one, and that's probably potentially why it went up 15% on Friday. So I think they're very bullish on the stock. I'm super bullish on this company. Okay, I mean, I'm not bullish on the stock and how it kind of looks technically as far as the TA is concerned. I don't really think it's super. I think I'm pretty safe buying in at this level. Okay, if they're buying millions of shares at this level, I feel pretty safe to buy thousands of shares at this level. Okay, so I don't feel like I'm going to be taking a heavy risk. Put it this way, look at the risk reward. I think the risk is, yeah, it could come back down to about 23. The reward, it could go up to 40, maybe 50. So the risk reward is there. Okay, so my odds in this scenario, I think, are strong. So, and that's what I think of Palantir. And the reason why I got 38.43 is like the high side. You can see basically where it rejected it a few times in that range up here about the 9th and the 10th, and it spiked above it, and you can see the huge candles. So this is definitely a resistance right around 38.40 to 39. So that's the resistance. That's where I'm going to probably be taking some profits, 50% maybe, if it gets there. Again, I'm not predicting it to go there. I'm saying if it goes there, this is where we're going to be pulling off profits, not all the profits, because I think it could break that zone and move higher. But in general, that's the plan of attack here. Now, if it dives down to 23, which is possible, it could break down and come back to 23, but I think that's really, really strong support at 23. And if it bounces off 23, we'll probably add more, even more in at that level. So I'll be willing to ride a little bit of a loss here to that point and add more if it bounces off the 23. Now, if it breaks the 23.50 or 23 mark, as long as it's not a stop loss hunt scenario, then I may duck out and just absorb the loss on the scenario. Okay, but this is what I see. I feel pretty confident here. I'm about 80% confident that we're probably going to move up from here, if not, especially at least to the 20-day moving average, which is all the way up to about 32, which is another $2 a share. I'm not sure exactly what percentage that would be. Probably another 5% or so. I don't know. I have to figure it out. But anyway, that's how I see Palantir. This is how we're playing Palantir, and I'm super confident. You can see the 2 green bars coming in. You know, this is pretty big. It's not really a green bar, I would say, on the first one. I don't know why Schwab does this potentially, but anyway, this is how I see Palantir. Okay. Now, you guys know that, you know, I've been running SI for a while. Okay, Silvergate Capital is basically my way to play Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or blockchain, mainly blockchain technology, essentially. So, and Bitcoin has been off to the races. Everybody knows Bitcoin has been going nuts. Well, and this is why SI has been going nuts too. Okay, because this is a fintech bank. Basically, this is a bank that has NES, like a exchange network. SEN, sorry, the Silvergate Exchange Network, which, you know, allows people to buy and sell cryptocurrencies without the drag, without the delay, without the hassle of moving stuff back and forth. And anyway, so we had initially gotten in at about 17. We've been buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling all the way up. And we've made a huge profit on SI, not just this year, but even last year, we had a good run on SI. I did cut like most of the positions. I think almost all of the positions as it's, you know, kind of breaking this trend. It's breaking this secondary uptrend. So I'm just being conservative right now. So, and I'm not taking a risk here. We've already locked in a lot of profits on SI. I mean, from 17 to 170, I probably could have capitalized a couple hundred more percent even on this move and added more to it. But once again, I'm not, I wouldn't say a huge fan of Bitcoin and blockchain. It's just, it's out of my wheelhouse. So I'm not very familiar with it. It's kind of like jumping in the ocean when I've only been in a pool before. You know, swimming in a pool is easy, no problem, there's no sharks. Now I'm jumping in the ocean, not knowing what I'm doing, can't see anything. And I don't feel like being chewed up by the sharks. So, you know, I'm not saying that Bitcoin and SI is not going to go up. SI is still pretty much, it's pretty fair valued now. But think about it, this has already run up massively, like 10x, you know, so that's a huge, huge move. So, so once again, we're taking profits off the table on there, and I'm waiting to get back in. I'm not sure when I'm going to get back in. I'll probably wait till it gets back over to the 20-day moving average. I expected in this scenario, if you follow the technicals, hit the 20, breached it, broke it, and went skyrocket. Same scenario, if it comes down to the 20, breaches it, and breaks back up. We'll see, depending on how Bitcoin, depending on how everything's kind of going with SI. But anyway, I wanted to cover that one because that was one of our huge positions there that we've done as well. And I know a lot of people like Bitcoin and stuff like that. So I'm going to leave it there today. I have a lot of other stocks to cover, but anyway, oh, actually, one more thing. I've got to cover the S&P. Okay, the S&P is important here. Okay, so let me pull up the bigger chart on the S&P. Okay, so you can see the S&P boosted up, and it's been in this upward channel for a long time, since November, basically since November 7th. It's been in this upward channel all the way till the 20th of February. So as long as it's in this upward channel, we're bullish. Okay, in my estimation, we're bullish. It doesn't mean we can't come down to the bottom of the channel or even breach the channel like we did here and kick back off the 50 and skyrocket back up to all-time highs. So, but once again, we are closer to the top of the channel than the bottom of the channel. So right now, we're literally in the middle of this channel. So is that a buy or a sell? To me, it's neither. Okay, when it comes to S&P, it comes to certain, ETFs or whatever, I wouldn't say, to me, it's not a buy or a sell. Okay, at this level, I like it bouncing off that uptrend, off one of the moving averages, whatever, and moving up from there. Now, there's no way for me to know. I mean, is it going to go back up to the top here to 400? Or is it going to head back down? We do have a gap to fill down in here. You won't see that on this chart. Let me go to the monthly. You'll see the gap here, and I have the actual the box here, and that's a gap that we could fill and get back down to 385 potentially. Now I don't know if we're going to do that, but it actually probability-wise looks like we're going to do that. I mean, you can see the downward funnel, and it kind of looks like we may end up doing this. We may end up popping down. Hang on a second. Let me adjust this a little bit. Yeah. And so we may fall back down to the bottom of that channel, which, where is that? 385-ish. That's what I see potentially. Jeez. Yep. So, I mean, we could definitely, and that's going to scare some people. If we end up retesting 385, that's going to panic a lot of people. That's not going to panic me at all. I think we're still super bullish. That just brings us off all these tops in the past. So I don't see too much of a big deal here. Obviously, we're done with earnings season pretty much. So if we're pretty much done with earnings season, we don't have a lot of positive news from the companies driving the stock up. So that's my kind of bear case. Like if we don't have a whole lot of news there, the bull case is we've got the stimulus. Basically, I think they're going to pass it within a week or so. And that's going to be big for the market. I mean, that's a lot of money that is going to be, injected into stocks. So, I mean, that is the biggest bullish thing, for me personally. Right now, we're running about 120K stocks and about 240K of cash right now. The reason being is I want to be able to deploy that cash at precise timings on certain stocks. So I have to have that there to really hit hard. Like we may hit 30 to 50,000 plus on Palantir. So I need that in place. We may be playing that Tesla trade multiple times. Obviously, Tesla's higher per share at 800, 700, 800 per share. So I'm going to need more, capital there to make that trade. So that's what I'm planning to do, essentially. And we have our clean energy tech stuff. We have our nickel and lithium stocks riding. And honestly, I'm riding and adding more and more and more. I'll give you an example. I'll show you one of those just because I think it'll entertain you and to see what we're doing and why we're doing it. Here's Canadian. And I don't usually invest in Canadian companies, don't get me wrong, but I'm investing in nickel. I'm investing in lithium. This is what it's going to take to make batteries for all these cars. Okay. And you can see huge breakout move on this company. I mean, it was down at 70 cents. Now it's up to $3. It's already basically up 450%. And we've had a good ride. We took a lot of profits on this one, and we've been riding this company in and out for a while. But I'm going to just start pretty much just adding to the position, here and there. And I'm going to have different, and this is just one of the nickel stocks. We have plenty of nickel stocks and lithium stocks that we're going to be riding. All of them, the charts pretty much look the same. They're all in breakout modes. They're not super strong because they're mining companies, and mining companies don't report quarters all the time. And, let's see, here's their earnings right here, 125. Well, this company has specifically, 929. So, but some companies don't even report, but maybe once a year. And, but anyway, these are my speculative stock moves that I think could potentially 5 or 10x or more potentially if they get contracts. And here's my bull thesis. 3 things that could drive them up. Okay. 1, another big mining company offers to buy out a smaller mining company. That's going to massively move. 2, they get in a contract with Tesla or some other company, GM or whoever, to supply, the materials. Well, now you're looking at a situation like PLL. And I don't know if you remember PLL at $6, and all of a sudden 2 days later it's at 50, or something like that. Of course, it came back to earth, but I think PLL, which we also have, is around 60 now. So, and then you have another possibility that one of the companies actually buys the mining company. Instead of actually just having them produce stuff for them, they just buy them outright, because these companies don't cost much. Couple $100 million, $1 billion, $2 billion. I mean, that's nothing for these big companies to snatch them up. So those are the 3 bull cases that I had. Not to mention, I guess if you add another one, a 4th one, they're breaking the charts. They're all above the 20-day, 50-day, and 200-day moving average. Where the heck is 200? This company doesn't even have a 200-day moving average. So this is a relatively new company. So let's see where they IPO'd or started out. Right around, 70 cents. So they're up 400%. So, and I think this is the last thing, I guess. The 5th thing is, this is the future where we're going. Okay. So long term, there's not a whole lot of risk here. So it's a very minimal risk and high reward. Those are the companies that I like to involve in. I don't usually invest in companies this low of market cap in general, but I'm willing to take a stab for very low amounts of funds. Like this one, we might have like 5,000 shares, maybe $15,000. So $15,000, even if this company wiped out, would not annihilate our portfolio. We don't do anything ever that we can blow up our portfolio on. So anyway, I wanted to cover that just as an example of what we're doing there. So anyway, I hope you guys found this useful, especially if you guys are Tesla or Palantir investors, or potentially even Bitcoin investors or SI investors. This hopefully will make some sense to you. And comment below if you guys have any comments or questions. And, I read all the questions and comments, and I try to respond as soon as I can. And in the future, I'm going to be doing live stream content in the morning, probably, sometime between 9 and 12 range. I'm going to be doing live streams. I'm trying to get everything set up for that. And if you guys like that idea of me doing daily live streams, showing you when I'm actually getting in and out, when I'm buying stuff, when I'm doing things, what I'm looking at throughout the day with the S&P 500 and everything, let me know again. And be sure to, like the if you like the video, just hit the like. That helps us out to at least grow the channel. All right. Thanks a lot. And I hope you guys have a great trading week. Take care.